The night the ICU rumor exploded across the internet, it felt as though the universe had pressed pause on every other story just to magnify one terrifying truth. No one knew where Yulong was. Not his manager. Not the studios. Not even young Mei Mei, whose hands shook so badly she could barely unlock her phone every time a new notification buzzed. The world believed he was fighting for his life. And the cruel part was, no one could say for sure whether it was true. It started with a single blurry image posted anonymously at 3:12 a.m. A man who looked like Yulong was being rushed down a sterile hallway on a stretcher, surrounded by frantic nurses. His face was half covered by an oxygen mask, his hair messy, his arm limp at his side. A caption followed. "Why Yulong in critical condition? Please pray." Those words hit harder than any scandal, any rumor, any leak before it. By morning, the photo circled the globe. Fans cried. Critics softened. Haters went silent. Even people who barely knew his name reposted the image with captions filled with fear. The internet had turned into a giant echo chamber of panic. But the truth, the real truth, was so much more complicated, heartbreaking, and connected to everything that had happened with the secret child reveal that even the wildest fans couldn't have predicted it. That night, before the rumor broke, young Mei Mei had been pacing inside her living room, the baby sleeping in the crib nearby. She kept glancing at the clock, waiting for a message from Yulong. He had gone out hours earlier to pick up the baby's new medication from a late-night pharmacy after their son began coughing unexpectedly. He promised to return quickly. 10 minutes, he said as he kissed her forehead and whispered to their baby. Daddy will be right back. 10 minutes became 30, then an hour, then 2. Her heart tightened with each passing second. She called him, but his phone rang endlessly, unanswered. Her anxiety turned into dread. She rocked the baby gently, whispering, "It's okay. It's okay. Daddy will be back." But she didn't believe her own words anymore. When she saw the ICU rumor online, she dropped her phone. It cracked against the floor, the sound echoing like a gunshot in her chest. Her legs gave out. She crawled forward, reaching for the device with trembling fingers, her vision blurring with tears. She replayed the image over and over again, zooming in, praying it was fake, praying the universe wasn't cruel enough to give her a miracle only to rip it away. And in that moment, the world's fear became her reality. She grabbed her coat, wrapped the baby in a blanket, and rushed out into the cold night. Her hands were shaking so violently she could barely strap the baby into the seat. "Hold on," she whispered. "We're going to find him." The drive felt endless. Rain hammered the windshield. Her mind replayed every moment with Yulong, the first time he touched the baby's tiny hand, the way he cried when the doctor said their child would survive, the confession video they recorded together, the soft promise he whispered that they would face everything side by side. She couldn't lose him now. Not after everything they fought through. She reached the hospital from the leaked photo, sprinting through the entrance with the baby clutched to her chest. The receptionist recognized her immediately and froze. Young Mei Mei tried to speak, but her voice cracked into pieces. "Long, where is he?" The receptionist blinked, confused. "Ma'am, there is no patient by that name here." Her world tilted. "He was brought here," she cried. "I saw the picture. I saw." The receptionist gently cut her off. "The photo going around wasn't taken here. We've been receiving calls all night." Hope and fear wrestled inside her. If he wasn't here, then where was he? Was he alive? Was he hurt? Was someone hiding him? Was the rumor planted intentionally? And if so, why? She stepped outside with the baby, sinking onto a bench beneath the hospital awning as cold rain misted across her face. Her tears mixed with the droplets. She stared at her phone, praying for a message, a sign, anything. Then it came. Ping. One message. From an unknown number. "Come to the old clinic. Come alone." Her breath froze. She stared at the text. Her heart pounded. The old clinic. The one they had used to hide the pregnancy. The one where the baby had fought for life. The one where the viral 7-second video was recorded. Why there? Who sent it? And did it mean Yu Long was alive? She didn't have the luxury of waiting. She drove again, faster this time, as the city lights blurred into streaks of blue and white. The baby stirred in the back seat, as if sensing the tension. She whispered, "We'll find him. Promise. I won't let anything happen to him." The clinic was dim when she arrived. No staff visible. Only the faint humming of machines. She stepped inside cautiously, holding her child close. The hallways were silent, too silent, except for a distant beeping that made her heart jump. "Yu Long," she called softly. No answer. She walked further in, past the room where their baby had been born early. Past the hallway where they cried together. Past the door where the world secretly watched them. Then she saw a shadow inside one of the rooms. Her breath caught. "Yu Long," she whispered again, afraid of hearing silence. But this time she didn't. A weak voice replied, "Mei Mei." She rushed into the room. There he was. Not unconscious. Not dying. But exhausted, pale, and sitting on a hospital bed with an 4 attached to his arm. Her knees buckled with relief. She nearly dropped the baby as she threw herself forward, hugging him, crying into his chest. "The world said you were dying," she sobbed. "They said you were in ICU. They said." He wrapped his arms around her, weak but warm. "I'm here. I'm okay. I fainted on the street. Exhaustion. Low blood sugar. A good Samaritan brought me here." She pulled back, staring into his eyes with disbelief, anger, relief, love, every emotion tangled at once. "Why didn't you call me?" He looked away. Shame flickered across his face. "I didn't want you to worry." She hit his shoulder gently, tears streaming. "I already died worrying." He laughed softly, kissing her forehead. "I'm sorry." The baby whimpered, and Yu Long lifted his hand to touch his tiny cheek. His eyes filled. "I'm sorry I scared you too." She held on to him as if he might disappear again. Outside, the world still believed he was in ICU. The rumor continued to spread. Tears, prayers, panic, all fueled by misinformation. But inside that clinic, the only truth that mattered was this. He was alive. He was safe. And the family the world tried to tear apart was still standing. And now, as social media roared louder than ever, Yu Long finally understood. The ICU rumor wasn't a curse. It was the universe forcing him to stop hiding. Forcing him to choose transparency. Forcing him to step into the light again. Because people weren't just watching their story anymore. They were emotionally tied to it. He wasn't just a celebrity anymore. He was a father, partner, a man fighting for the two people he loved more than life. And this was the beginning of a truth louder than any rumor. The moment the ICU rumor detonated across the internet, the world became a furnace of chaos, panic, and frantic heartbeat rhythm. But none of it compared to the wildfire burning inside young Mei Mei's chest as she replayed that blurry image again and again, zooming in until the pixels broke apart like shattered glass. The more she looked at the oxygen mask covering the man's face, the more her breath locked inside her throat. It wasn't just a rumor anymore. It felt like a countdown to her worst nightmare. Outside her apartment window, thunder grumbled like an omen. Lights flickered. Her phone kept vibrating uncontrollably as hashtags surged like a tidal wave. Hashtag pray for Yu Long. Hashtag ICU alert. Hashtag stay strong Yu Long. But she couldn't feel anything except the pounding ache behind her eyes and the tremor in her fingers. She whispered his name as if saying it softly would pull him back into the room. "Yu Long, where are you? Why aren't you answering?" She tried calling again. One ring. Three. Then silence. The kind of silence that feels like a grave. The baby in the crib stirred, sensing the tension. She scooped him into her arms, pressing his tiny body against her chest, her tears falling onto his blanket. "Daddy promised," she whispered. "Daddy said 10 minutes." And that single memory hit her like a storm. Just hours before, the night had been peaceful. Yu Long was smiling as he tried to balance the baby with one arm while packing the small diaper bag with the other. The baby giggled at him, tiny fingers grabbing his chin. "Look at you," he said softly. "Already making fun of Daddy's driving skills?" Mei Mei laughed from the kitchen, teasing. "You better hurry. The pharmacy closes soon." He winked. 10 minutes. I'm not going far." He kissed her forehead, then kissed their baby's tiny hand, then stepped out into the night. And now, hours later, he was a ghost lost in the rain. She grabbed her cracked phone, slipped her shoes on, wrapped the baby tighter and ran. The hallway felt longer than usual, every step echoing like a warning. She entered the cold night, the air sharp against her skin, her heart heavy with fear. The streets glowed with flashing headlines on digital billboards. Breaking. Actor Yu Long hospitalized. Sources claim critical condition. Uncertain updates on star's health. She felt her stomach twist. These weren't just rumors anymore. They were claws dragging her into the dark. She drove through the storm, her wipers thrashing across the windshield, the baby's soft breathing the only thing grounding her. She tried not to imagine the worst, but every image shattered into something horrifying. Yu Long lying alone. Yu Long unable to speak. Yu Long never coming home. The hospital entrance was packed with reporters when she arrived. Cameras flashed. Voices screamed. She ducked her head and rushed inside, desperate, breathless, terrified. When the nurse told her no patient named Yu Long had been admitted, it felt like the floor dropped from beneath her. Her heart pounded so violently she had to grip the counter to keep from falling. "Check again," she begged. "Please. Maybe he came in under a different name. Maybe." But the answer was still no. She walked back into the rain, feeling like the world had hollowed itself out, leaving her in the center of a storm with no direction. The baby whimpered against her chest, and she held him tighter. "I'll find him," she whispered, though her voice trembled. "I'll find him even if the world turns upside down." Then her phone buzzed. At first she ignored it, assuming it was another false article, another notification feeding the fire. But something made her look. Maybe instinct, maybe desperation. Message. From an unknown number. Just one line. He wasn't taken to an ICU. Someone moved him. Come to where everything began. Her breath hitched. Where everything began. There was only one place that phrase could mean. The old clinic. The place that had witnessed their secrets, their tears, their confessions, their baby's first breath. The walls still carried their echoes. She knew she had to go. The drive there felt unreal, like she was moving through a dream stitched together with fear. The streets blurred. Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the steering wheel. Every second felt like a threat. Every turn felt like a warning. When she reached the clinic, darkness wrapped the building like a blanket of secrets. The sign flickered. The windows were dim. It looked abandoned, or worse, hiding something. She stepped inside slowly. The lights hummed faintly. The air smelled like disinfectant and memories. Every hallway felt familiar, yet terrifying now. She passed the room where the baby had first cried. The hallway where Yu Long had first held him. The spot where they filmed the 7-second video that the world dissected endlessly. Everything was silent. Too silent. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Yu Long," she whispered. Her voice echoed back to her. No response. She moved deeper inside, her heart racing. Then, faintly, she heard something. Not a voice. Not footsteps. Steady, rhythmic beeping. A medical monitor. She followed the sound, her breath shallow, her palms sweaty. She pushed open the door gently. Her heart stopped. A figure was lying on a bed, connected to an 4. The room was dim, their face partially shadowed. She gasped, clutching the baby tighter. "Yu Long." The figure stirred. Slowly, weakly. A groan escaped their lips. Her knees nearly gave out. She rushed to the bedside, tears burning her eyes, but as she stepped closer she froze. It wasn't Yu Long. It was someone else. Someone bruised. Someone injured. Someone she recognized. The Good Samaritan who had helped Yu Long. The man opened his eyes weakly. His voice was barely a whisper. I tried to help him. He collapsed. I brought him here, but they came. They took him away. Her blood turned cold. Who took him? She whispered. He swallowed painfully. I don't know, but they said something. Something about silencing the truth, before the world learns everything. Her heart raced so fast she couldn't breathe. Yulong wasn't missing. He was taken. The ICU rumor wasn't a random hoax. It was a smokescreen. And whoever wanted him silenced wasn't finished yet. She looked down at her baby, then at the trembling man on the bed, and she knew. This wasn't a rumor anymore. This was a war. And she was walking straight into the fire.